That kind of nerd. Let's start the show with comics, movies, and technology. Here we go, bringing you the segments that you're looking for, like Cape Talk, Screen to Stream, Tech Perspective, and more. Cast this nerd degree and the blockbuster. Welcome to the club, 'cause you're that kind of nerd.
Welcome, everybody, to That Kind of Nerds podcast, a weekly show where we talk about the nerdy stuff that's happening in the nerdy world, and I don't know how CJ intros this. I am Brian Thornton. I am joined by Josh Burns, and no CJ.
What up?
So, I don't know. Are we sad about this?
Well, I'm always a little sad when the trio isn't together, but you know,
This is true. The Triforce is not
the
assembled currently.
Triforce is not assembled properly. That's exactly.
Currently, CJ is finding out just how small a world it is by little talking dolls as he slowly goes mad.
And yeah, what I'm gonna do for CJ this episode, and I know you're editing, but what I'm gonna do for when he listens is I'll just like from time to time look away from the microphone like this.
Oh, yeah, that'll help me out a lot.
Well, you'll be able to see.
Thanks, Josh.
You'll be all right.
All right. So anyway, I'm gonna try something new. Let's just talk. Let's talk a little bit. So because I want you to know something has changed. Something has changed in my life, Josh. I need you to know, and I want the listeners to know as well.
Okay.
You are now speaking to / listening to a man who has touched the same hand that voiced Batman. I am very happy right now. I got to see Kevin Conroy at Philly Comic-Con today. I also got to sit in the Adam West Batmobile.
That's
and
cool.
in the Jurassic Park Jeep. So I was very happy today.
The Wrangler or the Explorer?
I don't know, it's a Jeep. No, not the Explorer. The Explorer is the green one with the yellow.
Yeah, from the first movie.
No, yeah, we did the other one, the brown one with the red top. Okay. I got to sit in that, which was also pretty cool.
Was that a Jeep? Okay.
Yeah. More importantly, the Batmobile had an actual bat phone in it.
See, now that's where did you have to pay to sit in that?
I mean, yeah. I mean, you pay for like the photo and everything.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
But like, what are we talking about?
Batmobile, $20.
Worth it.
Jurassic Park Jeep, $10.
Oh, yeah. And
Totally worth it.
Totally worth it. And how long was the line?
Non-existent.
What?
There was no line.
To sit in the Batmobile and have your picture taken? There was no line?
I know, right? I was also confused as well. I'll tell you what. Let me here. I'll send you the pictures real quick so you can comment because they're quite spectacular.
Oh, that's so cool.
Right? They had all sorts of like props and stuff. Like I'm wearing the Alan Grant hat and the jacket with the little bandana and everything.
Oh, that is
It was pretty
cool.
epic. Philly Comic-Con this weekend. I'm highly enjoying myself. I not only did I get to see Kevin Conroy and shake his hand and thank him for being the voice of my childhood. In fact, my brother thanked him. I just nodded and said ditto. I got a thumbs up from Dean Cain as I was walking past, which was pretty exciting.
Thumbs up from Dean Cain?
Yeah.
What was he thumbs upping?
Well, he was signing some stuff, and we were walking past, and they were like, he's not taking any visitors right now because he's about to go to a panel. And we were like, okay, well, we're just gonna wave, hi, Dean. And he was like, hi, and he gave us like a thumbs up. And I was like, oh my god,
awesome.
Superman just gave me a thumbs up. It was really cool. Anything new going on in your world? Have you met a Batman recently, Josh?
I have not met any Batmen or women or children. Or I did watch Into the Spider-Verse again. That was
wonderful
good.
movie.
It was.
So
but
good.
you know what I do have for you in terms of sort of just back and forth before we get into like officially nerdy topics.
Yes.
So subscription services, they run the gamut from obviously streaming and whatnot to food, to like grocery and paper goods.
Yeah, like Blue Apron and things like that.
Yeah, to like health and beauty products. Okay.
Sure.
Have you ever heard of a service called Birchbox?
I have heard of Birchbox.
Okay, so I subscribe to Birchbox and I get all these cool samples and I decide what stuff I want to actually buy as a product, right? So Christian had saxophone Tuesday night. Laura takes him. Zoe went with a friend to her game, and I said, "Oh, I'll just show up at the game at 6:00 before it starts." So I show up, and Laura shows up an hour and 15 minutes later. Right now, I promise you, this is going somewhere.
I believe you are.
Laura comes up, I give her a kiss, she sits down, talks to me for a minute, and then says, "Both the children will be riding home with me." And I said, oh, okay.
Okay.
It seems like something odd to say at a softball game, but I'm not, this isn't the place for me to argue about that. All right. We get home, and she's like, "How much did you have to drink?" And I'm like, I didn't. I had nothing to drink because I was expecting to have to take the kids home. Like, I didn't think, She's like, "Well, you stink of alcohol." And I'm like, holy shit. The cleansing wipes I got from Birchbox were bourbon and cedar.
Oh, God.
And right before I went to the game, I wiped my face and my neck and my arms. You know what I mean? I just gave myself a zhuzh quick.
So you're smelling like a distillery?
Just gave myself a little zhuzh, and I give Laura a kiss, and she's like, "Holy shit, I can taste bourbon. Holy shit, he stinks like bourbon."
Oh, gosh.
And I'm like, I can't ever use those again. That is a bad vibe to put out there into the world. And I'm thinking to myself, I give her the empty pack, and I'm like, "Is that what I smelled like?" She's like, "Yes." I'm like, "That's a wipe." That's not me proper. That's a wipe. So,
wow.
Before you guys use some of these subscription products, give them a healthy whiff and use your best judgment, because if she smelled me next to me, then the people behind me and downwind
We're smelling it too, yeah.
right? And these are all parents of kids that my kids go to school with.
So now the rumor mill has started.
Dude, all
Did
the
you see
busybodies,
Joshua
I'm
at the-
sure. Oh my God, I can't even imagine the busybodies. Luckily, I give no shits.
Yes.
I wake up with 12 and I go to bed with a dozen.
Yeah, excellent, much like some of us do.
None given that day. But just, word of warning, I took the bullet for all of you. And I can say, just careful what you put.
Just be careful what you put on your face.
Put on your body. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you for that PSA announcement, because now I know. And knowing is half the battle.
It is.
As I learned it growing up. So let's get into some nerdy news. We're going to start off the show with my favorite segment. We're going to talk about the world of comic books and the way they affect movies and the way they affect television, the way they affect Comic-Con, and the way they affect myself. We're going to talk about Cape Talk. Cape Talk! So, first and foremost, I do need to, we got to pour one out, Josh. I don't know what you're drinking over there. We're going to pour it out, because after 26 years, DC Comics there's a lot of rumors going around that they're going to be closing their Vertigo publication. Now, Josh, how familiar are you with the Vertigo stuff?
Not a ton. There may be a couple titles I know. Is Preacher one of those?
If I were to say titles like Preacher, like Sandman,
I'm familiar with Preacher.
Hellblazer or John Constantine.
Oh, I'm very familiar with Constantine.
Lucifer, a lot of stuff. Actually, Watchmen was originally reprinted under Vertigo.
Let me ask you a question. Does that mean that, are they just giving up on the books because the television shows have been so successful, or what?
I don't think they're giving up on the books at all. So, this is still rumors, but it's very, credible sources. But when we're talking about when they close a publication, the books don't necessarily always end. I have a feeling they're big titles. They're Lucifers, they're Hellblazers, they're Sandmans, stuff that they want to continue to kind of do more stories with. Will probably continue under DC's publication, but they are just canceling the Vertigo banner itself. Vertigo started off in 93 as just the more serious stuff. Like DC would put out stuff like V for Vendetta, things that were more mature, not really meant to be kind of consumed by kids under this publication. That way you knew, hey, it's a DC owned property, but I shouldn't let someone the Christian's age read it.
Right.
And it was a lot of horror stuff and, supernatural stuff and things like that.
Yeah, they moved all the shit titles over to Vertigo.
I mean, not shit titles because Sandman is critically acclaimed.
I'll give you Sandman, but like, dude, I
Creature
get, like,
is amazing.
Swamp Things, and
they did Swamp Thing for a while. But hey, you know what? The best run of Swamp Thing, Alan Moore's run, happened while under the Vertigo label.
Okay.
So it was kind of like, hey, we're going to let the reins off. We're going to let you guys be a little bit more mature. And nowadays, when we're talking about comic book collecting, now back in 93, that made sense. 93, there were still a lot of kids who were consuming the main Marvel and DC titles. Nowadays, there's not that many. In fact, Marvel and DC have gone and made their own separate publications just for kids because the main publications have become very adult driven. So it makes sense. Like, we don't need a more mature label because all of our books are mature at this point.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not worried about it.
No, I mean, if DC reabsorbs some of the stuff that they gave away, fine. But I'm just a follow up. The Swamp Thing.
Yes.
If you remove the guy that wrote The Killing Joke,
Alan Moore.
I know. I'm giving the listeners a little bit of context. If you eliminate the guy that wrote one of the best Batman comic stories ever, is the Swamp Thing even a thing?
Yeah, because by that time he had still done Watchmen. He had still done, I believe, V for Vendetta was done by that time.
I'm not talking about Alan Moore. He's got all the credit in the world. I'm talking about, like, remove him from Swamp Thing.
Oh, remove him from Swamp Thing? Would we even be talking about Swamp Thing? Are you asking me?
Right.
Probably not in the same context. I don't think there'd be a TV show about Swamp Thing. I'll tell you that much right now.
All right.
But he's still a decent character. He actually had a really good run about a year ago that I read a lot of acclaim about. But no, we would not be talking about the character the way we do.
Cool.
Because of Alan Moore.
I don't want to beat a dead horse. I just wanted your opinion on that specific thing because I have nothing but reverence for Alan Moore.
Absolutely.
And
as you should.
If he was the best part of that series, then bleh. But fine, we can move on.
All right. Well, speaking of moving on, let me ask you a question, Joshua.
Yes,
you
sir.
You posed me a question. I'm going to ask you a question. Just a yes or no. Did you see Dark Phoenix?
Yes.
All right. Now, if I were to tell you Dark Phoenix had such a terrible opening weekend that they're expected to lose $100 million, would you be surprised?
No, because even though I thought it was very good, and Christian loved it, you got guys like CJ smearing it all over the internet. So, no, because people have been warned off this movie that is thoroughly watchable. Now, and the only thing I'll say about it, bad. I turned to CJ and I went, "This is 1992. It's 1992." Mm-hmm. So Michael Fassbender, 61.
Oh, don't get me started on that.
Oh, the timeline is totally
The Beast
screwed.
is supposed to be 50.
Yeah.
Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy are supposed to be in their 60s.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit about
Professor
that.
X, a few years younger than Magneto, but like Magneto got his powers in 1942.
He was, he got his powers during the Holocaust. And then if you think about it,
he was 10 or 11.
First Class took place in 62.
Right.
And
I said that to CJ as well. I'm like,
and Charles Xavier had just gotten his doctorate. So he's in his 30s.
He's the same age, basically.
Yeah.
As he was in 1962. And like, I can explain Mystique away.
Because of her shape-shifting abilities.
That's right.
I get it.
I can explain Mystique away, no problem. But like, this timeline is totally fucked.
It is completely effed. I want to save any reviews for when CJ gets back, and possibly because it is on our Patreon list. I don't know if that's going to be the Patreon movie we do a spoiler cast of. So I will reserve my full review until later. But what I will say is, you and I have very different opinions about this movie. I was not happy with it at all.
All right. Well, we'll embargo then.
We'll embargo until CJ comes back. So sorry, listener, you're gonna have to wait at least 2 more weeks till we talk about Dark Phoenix. But I'm not surprised by this loss at all. I'm not surprised because forget about the critics and the critical panning this movie is taking. This movie was supposed to come out in February, got pushed back to June, was heavily reshot. The entire third act was scrapped, and they did a completely new third act. And just some of the issues that were going on during filming, I'm not surprised people stayed away. I'm also not surprised people stayed away because of the Disney-Fox merger. A lot of people are probably sitting at home being like, why should I bother? They're just going to reboot it over at Disney anyway. So I'm not surprised this took a beating at the box office. And I'm sure Disney doesn't care. They probably just released it because, hey, we have it. We might as well release it. Because that's all going into Disney's coffers anyway. And again, they're going to reboot it. So it doesn't matter, how much it makes. But yeah, so if you are interested, go see it, but it's still going to lose money. Enjoy. But while we're on the topic of X-Men, I want to ask you a question, Josh.
Yeah.
There are 12 X-Men movies. All right. You have the original 3.
Yep.
X-Men, X2, X-Men The Last Stand.
Yep.
You have the 3 Wolverine movies, X-Men Origins Wolverine,
Gross.
The Wolverine, and Logan.
Yep.
You have the new trilogy, X-Men First Class, Days of Future Past, Apocalypse, and Dark Phoenix. I'm sorry, quadrilogy. And then you have Deadpool and Deadpool 2. Mm-hmm. All technically X-Men movies. I want you to rank them for me. I will give you a couple minutes. But if you can just rank them from worst to best, best to worst, however you want to go about it, we're going to play a little game.
Okay. Worst to best? No, best to worst.
Best to worst. What is the best X-Men movie out of all 12 of them?
Either. It's the first of either series for me.
So either X-Men or X-Men First Class? Yeah, give me one.
I like First Class better.
All right, so First Class is number one.
Because Sabretooth was dog shit.
Sabretooth was dog shit. What's number 2? Would that be just X-Men then? Being as it was tied for first?
No, because if I put First Class first, then Days of Future Past is second, automatic.
Okay. Number 3?
X-Men.
4?
Probably Logan.
4 is Logan. All right, next. 5?
In comparison to everything else?
Don't forget you still have Deadpool and Deadpool 2.
Both the Deadpool movies are my next 2.
So 5 and 6.
Yeah.
Number 7?
Apocalypse.
Okay, number 7, Apocalypse. 8?
The Wolverine, because it was actually pretty accurate to the Wolverine saga.
Agreed. 9?
X2.
10?
It's like a... What do I have? 3 left? 10, 11, 12? So I have Last Stand, Wolverine, and Dark Phoenix left?
Yes.
They're all 12.
You gotta give me something. Give me some sort of order.
I'm
going to put Dark Phoenix at 10 for you since you just said you actually enjoyed it.
I did like it, yeah. So Dark Phoenix, then probably Last Stand because I didn't hate Famke Janssen as Jean.
Okay. And then X-Men Origins Wolverine would be number 12.
Yeah, it was just bad.
Okay. So, the reason we did this is Inverse.com took it upon themselves to rank the X-Men movies by comic book accuracy. And I want to see what's going on. If the more accurate to the book, the better, or the least accurate from the book, the better. So, I will tell you my ranking from best to worst real quick. Number 1, I got Logan. Number 2, I have First Class. Number 3 is X2. Number 4 is Deadpool. Number 5, Days of Future Past. Number 6, the original X-Men. Number 7, The Wolverine. Number 8, Deadpool 2. Number 9, Dark Phoenix. Number 10, Apocalypse. Number 11, Last Stand. And number 12, the X-Men Origins of the Wolverine. So, let's see. Because we both agree that X-Men Origins Wolverine is the worst.
Oh, it's so bad.
Let's see how accurate. Comic book accuracy, 3 out of 10. So that makes sense. 3 out of 10. It being the worst freaking movie ever. All right. Let's see here. I think we both agree that X-Men The Last Stand was second worst.
Yep.
Comic book accuracy, 4 out of 10. All right. So let's take a look at our number ones real quick. So your number 1 was X-Men First Class.
Yes.
X-Men First Class has a 7 out of 10 in accuracy. My number 1 was Logan. Logan has an accuracy of 4 out of 10. So the nice thing about this article is they do the Rotten Tomato score, which is aggregate based on, user feedback. And they do comic book accuracy based on whatever Joe Schmo Eric, who works at Inverse, is, right? I'm not going to go through all 12 movies, but I will say the trend is more so the higher the score, it's usually a 4 or greater as far as comic book accuracy.
That's not
That's not a great score.
No, especially when you can say. And the problem is, it's not really hard for Deadpool to be accurate to the books because he's always breaking the fourth wall.
True, but so let's do this. What is the most accurate one on this list?
Deadpool.
Deadpool number 1 is an 8 out of 10, right?
Yes.
Yep. With an 84% score on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, the highest Rotten Tomato score, I believe, is Logan.
It is, and I have no idea how.
And that's a 4 out of 10. So there is really no theme. So the reason I bring this up is because purists like me always want to complain how things aren't accurate to the comic books. And I think it's pretty interesting to see that some of the best rated X-Men movies are not the most accurate. And I guarantee you, if we were to do something like this with all the Marvel movies, they're very true to the source material, but they take a lot of liberties with it.
Oh, yeah.
And if I were to sit here and say, hey, let's, Infinity War, how accurate is to the comic book, the accuracy is like 2 out of 10. And it's, a fantastic movie.
It's not close.
It's not close at all. So I think that's my point here, is that, like, everybody, when we talk about Dark Phoenix and we talk about, honestly, I know Josh liked it, but we talk about the disappointment it was for people like me who are fans of the saga. It doesn't need to be accurate to be a good movie. It just has to work as a movie. That's what Marvel does really well. That's what some of these best X-Men movies did really well.
I don't disagree with it doesn't need to be, dead on. It's some of these movies that, like, the total departure from what I know was a problem.
Sure.
And that's why I said what I said about Dark Phoenix.
Sure. I mean, listen, if the comic book fan in me were like rating Dark Phoenix, it's absolute utter garbage because it is absolutely nothing like.
You loved X-Men, right?
I did love X-Men,
okay,
and I loved the cartoon and everything.
The first X-Men were Iceman, Jean, Cyclops, and Professor X.
In the first X-Men movie?
No.
Or in the cartoon, or what?
In the book, it was Beast,
Iceman, yes.
Cyclops, and then Jean joined like a couple pages in.
Correct. Yeah.
And obviously Professor X. Like, so if we were sticklers, we'd have had a real problem with Iceman being a student, and Beast being Kelsey Grammer and 50 years old.
But the thing, I really enjoyed Kelsey Grammer's Beast.
Again, so did I. What I'm saying is you have to sort of suspend that part of you to get through, like, okay, it's not a book with hundreds and hundreds of issues. It's a movie that's 2 hours long.
Yeah. And I mean, there's a lot of liberties that you have to take when doing a movie especially a movie that, like, listen, they cannot cater to fans. Even like, when you look at things like Harry Potter, you can't do everything that the fanboy in everybody wants you to do just because it's not feasible. It takes too much time. It takes too much.
Harry Potter books are 700 pages long. Like, how are you going to fit all that in there? You have to omit characters. You have to cut storylines. I'm with you 100%. I was just illustrating it by using X-Men #1.
Segueing from a movie that's not doing so well at the box office with the X-Men franchise and Dark Phoenix, going on to some more kind of Avengers news. But I mean, Avengers came out not too long ago, and no, it has not passed Avatar yet, which, fingers crossed, we're still hoping it's like 50 mil away. We're going to get there.
Worldwide.
Okay,
but we can claim domestic.
We can claim domestic, but I want worldwide, Joshua. And, Avengers Endgame star Chris Hemsworth has been making the rounds. He's promoting his new MIB International movie. Looks like he was on Jimmy Fallon. And I'm looking at this headline saying Chris Hemsworth talks Endgame, MIB, and Fat Thor sings Johnny Cash. So Josh, can you help me out here?
Yeah. I added this into the show notes after Laura sent it to me yesterday. She was down like a pretty deep YouTube hole.
As one does, yes.
As one does. And sends me this. And listeners, it's a long video. It's like 6 minutes long. So, like, you're going to need some time, to watch this. But Hemsworth does talk Endgame. He does sing Johnny Cash's version of the Nine Inch Nails song Hurt. Which is actually the saddest song ever recorded, Johnny Cash singing Hurt. Which is cool because he did it as Fat Thor in between takes in his trailer, which is kind of dope. He does promote Men in Black International. If you're interested, there's a really cool clip of that, and there's also a video of Chris Hemsworth doing this the bear crawl, like CrossFit workout with like these crazy heavy dumbbells.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And then Jack Black does one with like little half-pound dumbbells. And apparently he posted this online. So it's all available. The video will be in the show notes. I'd say check it out. Plus, you got Jimmy Fallon cracking up, which is always cool.
So let's kind of stay in the world of Avengers and Marvel. I got the wonderful chance to talk about all of the information I've consumed about Galaxy's Edge that just opened in Anaheim last week. And not even letting the dust settle, Disney's already making moves to make their full-fledged Marvel land. Now, this has been rumored for a very long time. This has been in the works for a very long time. I don't know if we actually talked about it on this show, but a full theme park just based around Marvel sounds pretty awesome to me. And there was a tweet that hit the Twitter sphere earlier this week. Apparently, the place where they had A Bug's Land is closed down. They're going to use that land just for Marvel Land. And the tweet reads, A Bug's Land had no major shops. Remember PT Flea Market, which closed in 2010? But the Marvel-themed superhero campus certainly will. 2,071 square feet of merchandise space for all things Spider-Man, according to this permit. Now,
wait, just for Spider-Man?
That's what I want to know.
That's a house.
How do you feel about an entire house filled with Spider-Man merchandise, Josh? And this is before the rides and stuff.
You know those like those decent sized like cell phone stores that are in malls?
Yes.
That's that.
I know. Dude, I'm so excited. I'll go shop an entire house full of Spider-Man stuff.
I mean, I'm not taking the kids, but like it's a reason it's in Anaheim, right?
Yeah, it's going to be in Anaheim. I mean, if they just break ground now, like, you know how long Galaxy's Edge took to build. It's probably going to be another 3 to 5 years.
It's going to be another year.
Probably more. I mean, honestly, before that.
Hold on. Set to open in 2020.
Seriously, 2020? Did I miss that?
It's the second sentence. Brace yourselves, superhero lovers. A full-fledged Marvel Land is officially in the works at Disneyland, set to open in 2020. That's crazy. So it looks like Marvel attractions are also expected in Paris in 2020, Epcot in 2021, and Hong Kong in 2023. I got to tell you, I'd probably wait for Epcot. I can get there way easier.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And don't have to take anyone with me.
Like a day trip.
Yeah, exactly right.
So we will definitely keep our eyes on that. I mean, not much more information to talk about with that, just the fact that it's coming, it exists, the permits are in, they will probably start constructing it, and I'm fully tumescent. So,
Well, I mean, it looks like for this Spider-Man experience, we're going to have to go to Anaheim, which, I mean, it's not an unpleasant place to go. I just worry about, like, is it worth it to buy entrance into the park even for a day just to do this thing?
if it's anything like Galaxy's Edge, probably.
Okay.
I mean, I'm looking at some of the Galaxy's Edge videos and how immersive just that section of the park is.
Yeah.
And if they do Marvel Land the same way,
well, we'll have to follow up when we get some leaked photos or something, because
we
this
most
is
definitely
awesome.
will.
Yeah.
We most definitely will.
Before we get into the next topic, we just want to say that your support of this show is what keeps us going every week. So would you kindly please share this episode with a friend, especially if you think they'll enjoy the topics we just discussed. And if this is your first time listening, be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Thank you.
So, CJ is not here. But luckily, CJ did scour the internet so that I could ask both of us for our tech perspective on some things. And the first thing is something, do you want to talk about this? This seems like a CJ topic.
Oh, it's definitely a CJ topic. But yeah, so CJ actually put this in the show notes and also wrote, "fuck that," parenthetically, following the headline.
That's not a part of the headline?
No, I don't.
You mean you can't get away with that?
Yeah, I don't think it's part of what site is this? The nextweb.com?
The nextweb.
The nextweb.com.
Totally some sort of like 1999 like title where it's just like
I bought this domain and I'm not giving it up. It's mine. Even though this is still the old web and my design is terrible.
www.thenextweb.com.
So
you have to type the www in, Josh.
So
you got to put it in there.
Apparently Facebook is reviving its mobile data gathering program with a new app. All right.
Josh, what is that and why do I care?
So it's just Facebook collecting your data, right? I mean,
they don't already?
They do. But one would assume this would allow them to be more secure and probably more clandestine in collecting your data. So I'm looking at this, I'm scanning it, and it looks like to me it is just an Android app at this point. Look, data collection, you sign up for that every time you download an app. You say okay to the permissions. They collect your data.
You don't ever read the terms and conditions.
No, come on. You want an app, you download it, you say okay. Like, you agree to the T's and C's when you log in. That's the world now. I'm not gonna fight it. I'm not gonna protest it. I'm gonna avail myself of all the security settings possible to limit what others can see.
Yeah.
But I have zero expectation that a free social media app will not be collecting my data. I have no expectation of privacy against that.
I don't have any expectation of ever being private ever. So, I think we should probably circle back around on this topic when CJ is back and he can be like, "Oh my God, what are they doing?" Like, I don't care. Like, and I know how Josh feels about this. It's just the fact of the matter is this. We live in a world now where there's people don't watch TV for you to get those advertisements beamed into your brain. So they got to find other ways to do it, and they got to be targeted about it. And this is how they do it. Every time you download an app, every time you use an app, every time you visit a website, you are agreeing to this stuff. They are purely using it for ads. They do not care about anything else.
If I had something to hide, it would never find its way onto my phone or my computer.
Like
or
that guy you shot in Reno isn't on the computer at all.
Yeah, I did it just to watch him die.
You know?
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, not ever. It's never. I'm never going to post pictures of that.
Oh my God, I just made a CJ joke.
No, you sure did.
Oh, that was terrible. I feel dirty.
You shouldn't.
I feel dirty.
It's a good joke because Johnny Cash, and plus that's a great song.
All right, Josh. So now that we're done talking about our data and keeping it private, and not letting other people experience it, you know what else other people shouldn't be experiencing, Josh? BO.
Tell that to my son.
And I will say this past week was E3. I'm sure a bunch of people watched it. I watched a bunch of things from it. I will most certainly talk about it if that's something we want to hear on the show. But right now we're talking about Xbox is planning a lot of stuff. But among their plans for this summer is they're releasing a line of body wash and deodorant. They've partnered with Lynx to release some things to make sure that BO stays with you. So, Josh, if you were to say, this is what Xbox smells like, what would you think the description of an Xbox smell would be?
Weed, feet, and Cheetos. Like, is that what it would? Because that's the only thing I can imagine. It would
not even fresh Cheetos, Josh.
The mildew from your parents' basement.
Stale Cheetos because you haven't gotten a new bag in a while. But this bag is still good, like you still get the frothy, like the freaking Cheeto dust all over you,
I think it's gonna smell like dip spit and and Code Red. But I mean, you should have a little faith. I mean, it's like Axe.
It is. So Lynx Xbox is a fresh scent of pulsing green citrus featuring top notes of kaffir lime and winter lemon, aromatic herbal middle notes of mint and sage, and woody bottom tones of patchouli and clearwood.
Hard pass. I pulled the ripcord so hard that I actually hit my head on the canopy.
So you wouldn't want Christian using this and walking around the house all day smelling like this.
And you know what? Everything else is fine. Those fresh citrusy, okay.
They're pulsing. They're pulsing
mint
green
and
citrus.
Sage, okay. And then you said patchouli, and I went, nope. Dude, I can't do it. Like a whiff of patchouli, and I have to leave the room. I gotta go.
Just the thought of it, just out. Right?
I'm actually trying to hold back like a dry heave right now.
Good,
because I'm picturing all like the men and women I've ever smelled that wore patchouli, and I'm going, you're using patchouli to cover up a worse smell, but it's there, and I got both of them, and that's what patchouli smells like to me. It smells like ass. It smells like pits. Nope. It smells like, you know what it smells like? It smells like a concert where people have been out in the sun too long, sitting Indian style in the grass.
So it smells like Coachella.
It smells like Coachella. It smells like Bonnaroo. It smells like Woodstock 94. There's no amount of patchouli that can hit my nose without a visceral response, or at least, at the very least, me walking the other fucking direction.
So would you say you might actually, in fact, board a helicopter to get away from this smell?
If there were a helicopter available, I would board a helicopter.
Well, I have good news for you. If you are happening to be in Manhattan, Uber Copter is something that you can actually use now to get from Lower Manhattan to JFK. Is this? Am I reading this wrong?
No,
Can I get an
is.
Uber for a helicopter?
Yeah, for like $200.
It's a helicopter.
Listen, dude. All right. So yes, this is interesting. And if you have an unlimited expense account with your firm, this is a really good thing, right? Because likely, you're flying either transnational or international from JFK, which is just the worst airport in the world. Don't ever use it. This idea of a helicopter is great, except from Midtown Manhattan, I can take a train with a single transfer and be at JFK in like my best estimate is probably 35 minutes. And all of the hoops I'd have to jump through to get to the helicopter, that's going to take 30 minutes alone. And then it's going to be probably a 15, 20-minute flight, and they have to land on a helipad, which isn't going to be on the tarmac where the flight that you're getting on is. So, if this is for private charters, fine. But if it's for, like, commuters, commercial flights, no, not a chance. No way. No way.
Can I?
It's a $2 train ride.
But if I take the train, I can't stage some sort of like epic battle on a rooftop where I have like a flash drive that like the bad guys are trying to take. Because I feel like if I ordered this copter, that's what I would do. I'd have some guys chase me up the stairs. We do some karate moves. As the helicopter lands, I'll jump in the helicopter. I'll scream at the Uber copter, go, go, go. And then we go to JFK.
For $200, though?
Hey, I'm going to make every moment of that experience count for $200.
Oh, my God. I don't know, dude. I mean, not when I can jump on a train for $2.
But
No.
where's the fun in that?
And, like...
What karate moves do I get to do on a train?
Because I can't take my cereal milk ice cream on the helicopter. And I can take it on the train.
Who says you can't take your cereal milk ice cream?
There's no way they're letting you in a helicopter with food or drinks. There's no way.
That makes no sense. It's a helicopter. It's just a moving platform. You're fine.
It's a flying vehicle.
There's food allowed in flying vehicles.
Only if served by a flight attendant.
Psh.
I'm telling you, they're not letting you
Semantics.
on there with ice cream. There's no way in hell.
Well, we're going to have to try this, Josh. We're going to go to Manhattan.
It's never going to happen.
We're going to order this Uber.
I'm not going to do it.
You're the one with the credit card that could kill a man because it's so thick.
We can go.
You would order this freaking copter.
I'll use the Kill a Man credit card to order cereal milk ice cream and a slice of crack pie, but I will not. Yes. I will not get on a helicopter. Not ever. And like, I'm sure just the thought of me jumping on a helicopter has Laura in hysterics because the idea of me on a helicopter is fucking insane. No.
If we order this copter, can we stand in like suits and just like with hats and just stand there menacingly while our hats blow off?
Yeah, that's what you have to do. If you're
required to do this.
If you're about to board a helicopter, you actually have to affix the suppressor to your 9mm prior. Like while in full view of the other people boarding.
Oh yeah, you can't do that mid-flight.
They have to know that you have a silencer on your pistol and you're ready to go. You're actually boarding because you're going to go kill somebody. Yeah, but you're boarding an international flight. You're an international man of mystery. It's the only way you're boarding that helicopter.
So I would be James Bond.
You would have to be.
I'd have to be.
To take this helicopter instead of a $2 train ride. You'd have to be James Bond.
See, that's the thing, though. James Bond doesn't use trains. James Bond only uses helicopters.
I know, but like at that point, you have to ask yourself, what could be so urgent? What could be so urgent?
Clearly, I'm stopping a missile launch of some kind.
That's right. That's the only thing that could be so urgent.
Absolutely. I like where this topic went. Thank you, Josh. That is our show for today, listener. Now, I know it's probably a little shorter show than you're used to. I promise next week we're going to bring the gusto. And by gusto, I mean Josh and I. It's going to be the two of us again. We're going to do Cast This. Sound good, Josh?
Yep, we're gonna cast this.
We're gonna cast this, and when we cast this without CJ moderating or editing, that's usually a very good time, and probably tears and punches will be thrown. So, listeners, I'm gonna throw out the cast this to you guys. Josh and I have been tossed around 2 movies that we wanted to recast. Josh wants to recast the Addams Family. Yes, I know there's an animated Addams Family coming out. We want to do it live action again, kind of like the old 90s Raul Julia movie. Or I kind of want to cast the Fifth Element with good old Bruce Willis, Mila Jovovich, and Chris Tucker. So, listeners, if you have an opinion, please go to Facebook, go to Instagram, go to Twitter. If you're a Patreon subscriber, message us on there. Let us know which one of those you want us to cast next week. If there's a third option, we're all ears. We're more than happy to cast anything. Josh and I love doing it. So we're definitely going to do cast this week. Please go ahead to those social medias and make sure your opinion is heard.
Did you spell that Maedia?
Always. Yes, social medias.
Also, you said we're happy to cast anything.
We are.
We're not. Please stay away from like the super iconic stuff.
Okay. All right. I can agree to that. Super iconic is off the table, but anything else is fair game. But until then, listener, thank you for making us your walk around the neighborhood, your drive to work, your leisurely boat ride on the ocean that is on the water wherever you go. Thank you for listening. And I don't know how CJ says goodbye. So bye.
Later.
Well, welcome to the club, because you are that kind of nerd.
How am I getting notifications that CJ is editing the show notes right now?
I don't know.
Tell him to chill his shit. I guess we should get this boat out of the port here.
Yeah. Let's get it. Let's get it on the water.
Get it in the water. Maybe take a nice leisurely sailboat jive, boat sail, whatever you do to a sailboat. You don't drive it. What do you do? Steer it?
You just made a Letterkenny reference, by the way.
I am ashamed. I'm ashamed now because I refuse to watch that show on principle, and I now also refuse to quote it based on principle. I'll watch it. I'll launch it. I'll launch it as best as I can. If there's a failure to launch, I mean, you can't blame me. But
no, you'd have to blame
we'll
Matthew McConaughey for that one.
I mean, we could just sit here and talk about Matthew McConaughey movies for the next hour if you like.
Only if you want me to put my head through this plate glass desk.
Speaking of CJ's jokes, I told him I was going to steal this. CJ goes to me. He was just like, "Oh, so got a job as a security guard." I was like, oh, "Okay," because I knew it was I knew it was a joke.
Of course, it's a joke. Who's ever gonna give him a firearm?
Right. It's like got a job as a security guard, and they hired me just to watch The Office, and I'm on the 6th season, and I have no idea what this has to do with my job. And I have to admit, I actually laughed. And it felt bad laughing because it encourages him to do other stupid shit like that.